We are currently watching some very unusual institutional activity happening on the XRP ledger right now. And in this video, I want to break down exactly what we're seeing and what it could potentially do to the price of XRP. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. Thank you to everyone who likes these videos and subscribes to the channel. These two simple things really do help me out so much. With that said, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. Guys, I want to jump right into the video and talk about what we are currently seeing on the XRP ledger that has a lot of people extremely excited. Now, one of the cool things about the XRP ledger is obviously it's a public decentralized ledger. So if there is large institutional activity, it can be seen sort of without them even wanting that maybe to be known. We don't necessarily know exactly who it is, but I have a hypothesis, and I think you guys are going to be very interested in who I think that is. Well, let's start off and take a quick look at what is happening on the XRP ledger right now, and that is that we are watching a mass account creation event take place. Typically on the XRP ledger, we see a couple thousand XRP accounts opened every single day, and an XRP account is essentially just a new user on the XRP ledger or a new private key initiated. A lot of exchanges inadvertently hide the total amount of XRP users out there because they might have one large XRP account that they've divided up into a whole bunch of users, but typically taking a look at how many accounts are being opened gives us a really good idea of how many people are getting started in this ecosystem. Now, what we can see is we're actually right now witnessing a record amount of XRP accounts being initiated on the XRP ledger. In just a matter of a couple days, close to 40,000 different accounts. Now, this is on its own something that doesn't give us too much information. We know there is clearly someone setting up something pretty massive on the XRP ledger, but we don't know if this is just some retail participant. We don't know if this is like meme activity or some new XRP ledger application that a lot of retail users are using. But if you dig in a little bit more, we can get some ideas of sort of what's happening. The first thing we know, and this was highlighted by Jungle Inc., is that this is not normal user activity. It looks like infrastructure being prepared. These are segregated accounts. They have institutional sub-accounts, automatic wallet creation scripts, new custodial vault structures, and compliance-driven account setup. So this lets us know right here that it's probably not just a big wave of retail participants interested in using the XRP ledger. The way these accounts are being automatically created, the way they are being batch submitted on the XRP ledger, the way they are structured in terms of sub-accounts are letting us know that this is a very sophisticated player mass setting up XRP wallets. Now, the other interesting thing here is that this likely has to do with someone, right, who has a desire to essentially move over their current infrastructure to the XRP ledger. It looks like whoever is setting this up is not looking to just set up one wallet and divide it up into a whole bunch of users. This looks like a very sophisticated player who wants every single user to essentially have their own XRP ledger and wallet. This is one of the huge advantages of the XRP ledger. It's super cheap to create mass infrastructure like that. A lot of other blockchains out there, essentially, it would be super costly and extremely inefficient to be setting up an operation of this size. But because the XRP ledger is really an institutionally focused chain, and the creators of the XRP ledger knew that for businesses to be able to adopt this technology, it was going to have to be scalable to the masses, the XRP ledger is perfectly suited for something like this. Now, when it comes to my prediction of who is doing this, why are they setting up these accounts? Guys, I actually believe the person setting up these accounts, and my hypothesis is actually perfect in line with Jungle Inc. here, is it's actually Robinhood. So Robinhood, Jungle Inc. called this out, and I actually completely agree with it. A couple of months ago, Robinhood actually acquired Bitstamp. Now, Bitstamp is an exchange, a very large exchange that has heavy involvement with Ripple. Before Robinhood acquired Bitstamp, Ripple and Bitstamp were actually in a partnership to create a new derivatives exchange, a crypto derivatives exchange. And since Bitstamp was acquired by Robinhood, we essentially haven't heard much from it. But just recently, there's been a lot of news breaking about Robinhood coming out with their own derivative exchange offering. I believe it is highly likely that the activity we are seeing on the XRP ledger right now has to do with essentially Robinhood's new derivatives exchange product. Now, Robinhood is one of the most important, fastest growing brokerages in the entire world, and they actually have a very good institutional offering. I think it is extremely likely here that Robinhood, via their acquisition of Bitstamp, who is extremely close to the XRP ledger and Ripple, is actually developing a first of its kind derivatives exchange on the XRP ledger. Now, guys, there's a lot of speculation here. Obviously, this could be a completely different, unrelated party setting up all these XRP ledger accounts. But what we know is the derivative exchange being built by Bitstamp with Ripple was very far along by the time Robinhood took over Bitstamp. We've also seen a lot of very interesting connections over time between Robinhood and Ripple when it comes to the executives there. So I think this is falling into place perfectly for that to be what's taking place. Obviously, it could be someone like Hidden Road or Rail setting up a new, essentially XRP facing product. But it just seems to me like this is going to come down to likely Robinhood in the mix on this derivatives exchange. Guys, we'll keep our eyes on this, but this is the sort of thing that would bring mass attention to the XRP ledger, especially with the ETFs going live. Robinhood has been a Wall Street darling, and to see them cozying up next to the XRP ledger would be a huge vote of confidence for Wall Street alongside these ETFs in terms of XRP ledger actually being a piece of utility, unlike a lot of the rest of the cryptocurrencies in the market. One of the things that is becoming explicitly clear is that a lot of these institutions aren't interested in simply holding a token for speculative purposes. They want to see a little bit more there. And I believe this would be the perfect rollout of the usage of the XRP ledger in an institutional capacity, differentiating it from a lot of the other crypto products out there, which Wall Street is looking at and saying, yeah, maybe interesting, but why do we have to own the token? Or maybe interesting, but what does the token do? Or, this is just all speculation. We're never going to touch something like this. Wall Street and big institutional investors really want to see utility. They want to see a network effect. They want to be able to put their finger on one of these networks and say, this is going to be critical for the next 20 years. Therefore, we're going to make a strategic allocation. I believe the likes of something like this is exactly how you get their attention. And my last note on this, guys, regardless if it's Robinhood or not or someone else, this is what I believe mass adoption of cryptocurrency is going to look like. It's not 40,000 people going over to the XRP ledger and opening up a whole bunch of wallets. No, it's one single entity mass creating XRP ledger accounts and forcing it upon their users. Now, I don't say forcing it in a bad way. I actually mean it in a really good way. Most of these users probably have no interest in learning blockchain technology or how to create a wallet and how to store their private keys, but they want the benefits of it. And I believe that's how we're going to see mass adoption of this technology, exactly like we saw mass adoption of the internet. I do all kinds of stuff on the internet, as you guys know. I never interact with the interact with the internet protocol. Instead, I'm just using different services that companies have wrapped up and bundled to me so I can get access to the tools and feature sets I need in the internet, and to make it so that I can do the things that I need to do in a fast and efficient way without having to be an expert myself. I believe what we're watching here is Ripple's overall goal for the XRP ledger playing out. Rather than mass selling this thing to retail users and trying to convince those retail users to essentially drop everything they're used to, drop all the apps they're used to using and switch over to being native blockchain pros, just go get a Bank of America or Robinhood or Charles Schwab to integrate this product into millions upon millions of accounts. And guys, that's how you create real mass adoption. The XRP ledger and Ripple, they're one of the only technologies and companies going down this path. Everyone else is focused on retail adoption. And I believe we could start seeing a lot more activity like this as more institutions gear up their offering and introduce cryptocurrency rails to their current product lines. With that said, I want to quickly move into the XRP price chart and just show you guys something extremely interesting. Take a look at the XRP price chart right now in 2025 in comparison to 2017. Guys, I see a lot of people kind of saying, oh, XRP is not doing anything. Oh, it's dying out. It's getting ready for the bear market. It's slowly dropping. I just want to share with you this chart. Not because I believe the same exact thing has to happen again, not because I believe we can't see something slightly different, not necessarily because I believe we've hit the bottom 100%, right? We could very well go down more, but I want to show you this because a lot of people probably have the same feeling that you're having now with XRP, in which, oh, XRP is not going anywhere, oh, it's about to drop again, this chart's not bullish, it looks like it's trending down. And then out of nowhere in 2017, XRP went on the most parabolic rise any cryptocurrency has ever seen in history. Guys, I believe it's very possible we could see this same exact thing again. And it's just to show you guys, XRP has this way of making that parabolic run when people least expect it. Some people say this is on purpose. They do this on purpose to shake people out and make them miss the run. It doesn't matter what it is, but you just need to understand that these things can happen at any moment. So never feel like you're getting, oh, this is just going to drag on forever, it's never going to move. Typically, when you feel like that, we're right around the corner from the next big move. And I just want people to be aware of that because I see a lot of people kind of falling asleep, getting bored of the price action, saying, oh, it's over, there's no more volatility in XRP. Guys, to me, that's the best indication that we're getting very, very close to something really exciting, because typically sentiment from the mass is wrong and the exact opposite normally takes place. So just keep your eyes on that, guys. Seems to me like we have a lot of very, very bullish things coming towards the back end of the year and the early part of next year. And I think the XRP price is going to reflect it in a very big way, especially if people right now are asleep at the wheel. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed this update. And for now, Mickle out.